We are learning new details tonight in a damning report highlighting a host of failures that caused the deadly Titan sub disaster. 5 people were killed when the Titan, a submersible operated by a company called OceanGate, imploded during a dive to the Titanic shipwreck in June of 2023. Sound of what is believed to be the moment the sub imploded was unknowingly caught on tape from the Titan's support ship.
Yeah. It should be about 500 meters, 30. What was that thing?
That was the wife of OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush asking what was that thing after that noise. Coast Guard investigators now say the disaster behind that noise could have been prevented. In a report more than 300 pages long, the Coast Guard outlined 12 factors leading to the implosion, ranging from inadequate design of the sub to poor oversight to a toxic workplace culture at OceanGate. Joining us now is scientist and journalist Michael Guillen. He's been to the Titanic wreckage. He was the first journalist to report from the site 25 years ago. Michael, this report is damning. It says OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush ignored safety warnings, deliberately avoided oversight, and could have faced criminal charges if he had not died in this implosion.
Yeah, you know, sadly, Elizabeth, the name of the company, OceanGate, is also an appropriate way to kind of describe the scandal that was perpetrated by the CEO, Stockton Rush. Now, look, the man paid for it with his life, so I hesitate to speak ill of the dead. But the fact is that he is the villain in this story. He capitalized basically on people's fascination with the Titanic, but he did so in a very dangerous way by overselling the safety of this vessel, by playing footloose and fancy-free with its maintenance. He did everything on the cheap. It was clear from the evidence that the U.S. Coast Guard report just presented that this was a man who was after fame and fortune, and he cared very little. And I say this again with a heavy heart, but he cared very little about the safety of the passengers. But again, he paid for it with his life. There, you know, in 2022, which was a year before the disaster, and I don't want to even call it an accident, because, you know, this was not a whoopsie. This was preventable. This was foreseeable. This was a tragedy. But a year before, in 2022, when they went down, this was like the 12th or 13th dive. When they got down to the Titanic, which is 2.5 miles below the surface, the thrusters misfired, and it was only because of the skill of the pilot that they were able to get back safely. Also in that year, during one of the ascents of the dives, they heard a big bang, and the U.S. Coast Guard says that after that bang, there were microfractures in the pressure vessel, which was made of carbon fibers with titanium. That's a whole nother thing, because when you meld two dissimilar materials like that, carbon fibers and titanium, where they come together, now in retrospect, some of the reports that I've read say that that is where the fracture happened, and that's ultimately collapsed.
You know, there is so much evidence in this report of Stockton Rush playing fast and loose with the safety rules. The report points out that the passengers, for example, were classified as mission specialists so that they could get around regulations for small passenger vessels by saying the sub was for research. One of those passengers was 19 years old. He was not a scientist doing research. He was a kid who paid big bucks to go on an adventure.
Yeah, exactly. And after that, exactly. And even before you talk about the maintenance issues and overselling the safety, this is a man who put together a vessel on the cheap. The remote controls that he used could be bought at a sporting goods store, big box store. Yeah. Everything was done on the cheap. After the 2022 issues, the thing was stored in St. John's, St. John's, Newfoundland, out in the open, exposed. And there was even a report that it was struck by lightning. And he just covered all of that up. But you know what? Last thought on this, Elizabeth.
Quick one.
OSHA and the U.S. Coast Guard also have some culpability in this, because there was a whistleblower who brought some of this to light, submitted the report to OSHA. That whistleblower had a settlement with OceanGate. Okay. OSHA kind of just dropped the ball. So we won't know the full details until we have another report coming up in a couple of months.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.